Here's the hard truth. 80% of candidates fail BA interviews not because they don't know SQL or Excel, but because they don't understand the terminologies recruiters actually expect you to know. Imagine walking into an interview and hearing, "Can you explain a to be process?" or "How would you do stakeholder analysis?" If you blank out, the interview is over. Today I am going to cover all the basic terminologies every business analyst must know in 2026, explain them with real examples from projects, and show you how to answer interview questions using these terms confidently. Hi all, I'm Leena. Welcome to Tech Bytes with Leena, and I help students like you cut through the noise, avoid shortcuts, and actually get hired. Stick with me. By the end, you will sound like an experienced PA, even if you are just starting out. Why terminologies matter? Before we dive in, let me explain something most people don't realize. Knowing tools is not enough. You need to understand the terms recruiters use and why they use them. For example, if they ask as is versus to be process in your interview, they're not just testing knowledge, they're testing if you can analyze current processes and suggest improvements. Or if they ask about KPIs, they don't just want a definition, they want to see if you know which metrics matter for business decisions. In this video, I'll give you practical examples so you know how to explain these terms in your interviews like a pro. Before that, pause for a second. Have you ever felt unsure when someone asked a term in an interview and you just nodded? Comment yes if that's you. BA core concepts. Let's start with the basics. If you can't confidently explain these, recruiters immediately question your understanding. Terminologies with realistic explanation. Business Analyst, BA. Bridges business needs and technical solutions. Example, you collect requirements from sales and translate them for the IT team. Stakeholders, anyone impacted by the project. Example, your manager, the customer support team, or end users. Here's an interview tip. Always show you can manage stakeholders' expectations. Recruiters look for this. Requirements, what the system or project must achieve. Here's a tip. Show recruiters you can separate functional versus non-functional requirements. Functional requirement, what system should do. Example, the system must generate an invoice automatically. Non-functional requirements, how system performs. Example, invoice generation should take less than 5 seconds. Gap analysis, identify missing capabilities between current and desired state. Here's an example. You notice that the current sales reporting system cannot show regional performance. Propose solution. Business process, steps to complete a task. Example, order to cash process, receive order, verify, ship, invoice, receive payment. Here's a mini story you can use in an interview that hits all the key points we listed for the BA role. In my first project as a business analyst, I worked with sales team to improve the order to cash process. I started by gathering requirements from stakeholders, including the sales manager and the customer support team, to understand what they needed from the system. During this, I distinguished between functional requirements, like the system automatically generating invoices, and non-functional requirements, such as generating these invoices in under 5 seconds. I also performed a gap analysis and realized the current system couldn't show regional sales performance. I proposed a solution to update the reporting module, which saved the team about 10 hours per week in manual work. By mapping the as-is and to-be business processes, I could clearly show how the changes would improve efficiency. This experience taught me the importance of bridging business needs and technical solutions while managing stakeholders' expectations. Requirements and analysis. Now, most candidates know terms like BRDs or FRDs, but very few know how to use them in interviews to show impact. BRD, Business Requirement Document, high-level document explaining business needs. Example, show stakeholders exactly what problem you're solving. FRD, Functional Requirement Document, technical specs for developers. Example, shows how the system should behave to meet business needs. Use case, step-by-step interaction between user and system. Here's an interview tip. Always mention your thinking in steps. Example, I first clarify user actions, then system responses. User story. Here's the agile format. As a role, I want feature so that benefit. Here's an example. As a customer, I want to reset my password so I can access my account. Acceptance criteria. Define success for a requirement. Example, password reset link must expire in 24 hours. As is to be process. Compare current versus desired processes. Here's an interview tip. Show recruiters you understand how to improve efficiency or reduce errors. SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Example: use of product strategy or project planning. Stakeholder analysis: identify stakeholders, influence, and engagement strategy. Here's an interview tip: mention how you prioritize stakeholders in projects. Think about a project you have worked on. How would you map the as is process versus the to be process? Take 5 seconds to reflect and share your approach in the comments. Agile and Scrum terms. Agile has become the standard. Recruiters will ask questions like explain a sprint or product backlog. Many candidates freeze you. Take a look at the key terms. Agile, iterative development with frequent stakeholder feedback. Scrum, framework with sprints, daily stand-ups and retrospectives. Sprint, short cycle, 1 to 4 weeks, delivering features. Product backlog, list of features or tasks prioritized by value. User story points, estimate task complexity. Daily stand-ups, 15-minute progress meeting. Epic, large feature broken into multiple user stories. How you can put it across an interview. In my first Agile project, understanding the backlog helped me prioritize tasks that saved the company $10,000 per month. That's the kind of story you want to share in interviews. Data and analytics terms. KPI, key performance indicator, shows how well business objectives are met. Example, monthly revenue, churn rate. Metric, a measurable value. Dashboard, visual reports of KPI. Data analysis, inspecting and interpreting data to make business decisions. Data validation, checking for errors or inconsistencies. ETL, extract, transform, load, moving and preparing data for analysis. Data modeling, structuring data for reporting. Here's an interview tip. If asked about KPIs, don't just define, give an example. Like, I track customer retention rate to reduce churn. Technical and tools. SQL, query database. Show example query in interview if asked. Excel functions, pivot tables, VLOOKUP, COUNTIF, SUMIF, Power BI or Tableau. Data visualizations and dashboards. Wireframe, visual blueprint of system or interface. Process flow diagrams, step-by-step process visualization. RACI matrix. Let's break it down. Responsible, accountable, consulted, informed. This assigns responsibility and accountability. Here's an example. In one project, I created a RACI matrix to avoid confusion between teams. The interview panel loved when I explained the outcome. Here's a behavioral and soft skills. Finally, soft skill and behavioral understanding are critical. Recruiters judge if you can communicate, solve problems, and work with stakeholders. Stakeholder communication, clear updates and reporting. Conflict resolution, handling disagreements professionally. Decision making, choosing the best solution based on data. Problem solving, identifying issues and proposing actionable solutions. Requirement elicitation, gathering requirements via workshops, interviews, surveys. Here's the tip: always link soft skills with a tangible example. Like, I mediated between two teams with conflicting requirements and proposed a solution that saved 3 weeks of development. Now you know the terminologies that most candidates don't even know before applying, and more importantly, how to use them confidently in interviews. If you master these terms and explain them with examples, you immediately stand out. Recruiters notice candidates who connect knowledge with real world impact. Look, there are no shortcuts to landing a business analyst or data analyst job in 2026. Hard work, real projects, smart applications, and the right guidance are what actually works. If you found this video useful and want more practical, realistic guidance for your career, hit that subscribe button and turn on notification. I post step-by-step tips, project ideas, interview strategies, and everything you need to actually get hired. Comment below your biggest struggle. I read every comment and make videos to solve your real problems. Join our community of students who are serious about their careers. Let's build your path to success together.